Hi, and welcome to today's session. We're going to do some restorative yoga. So, restorative, another word for it would be recuperative. So, it's really nice for if you've been ill or just feeling a bit low energy, unbalanced, and in need of some nice, slow yoga. So, the things that you might need, definitely a blanket, a nice folded up one at the start, and maybe even one to put around you if your room's cold. A block, if you haven't got a block, then a big book, a big brick-like book would be helpful. A cushion or a couple of pillows or a big thick cushion that you can, make it different sizes. And if possible, a bolster. So lots of props for restorative because we want to support the body throughout each posture. We don't want to be putting any strain at all. We just want to marinate in the posture for 3-5 minutes depending on what we're doing. So hopefully you've got your props ready by now. So we'll start with our first posture, and for this you might definitely need a block or a big brick or a big thick cushion or a block and a blanket possibly, and then grab your bolster or your big pillow or a sleeping bag rolled up. Could suffice as a bolster as well. So you're making this kind of little lean-to, as it were, for yourself. And what you want to do then is you want to bring your lower back, your sitting bones up against it, soles of the feet together in that butterfly shape. So you can make this nice and long. I wouldn't bring the feet too close to the body because that will just tug away on the hips. So nice long diamond shape, and then see if you might even want to move your back away. So you can move your back away and try it first. And if that's just really nice and easy and comfy, you might want to stay there. Or if you think it's not enough, you bring your back all the way in contact with the front of the bolster and then lean back over it. Now, if your head's not meeting the bolster here, again, it's good to have something else around, like another folded up blanket or a little cushion, and then you can pop that behind your head, and voila. And then you're not straining your neck. Hopefully your upper body's starting to melt down into the bolster. If your elbows don't meet the ground, that's fine, as long as there's no feelings of tugging or pins and needles. And if this shape down the bottom here really doesn't suit you, if it's pulling already on your hips or your knees, then what you can do is slightly different version and go into a fish with the legs straight down in front of you, but you're still getting this lovely accentuated curve of the lumbar here, a nice back bend to start with. And we're just going to relax here for a few minutes. So whether your legs are long in fish or whether you're in that butterfly cobbler's pose, wherever you are, you start to let the body settle and soften. Let the gaze settle towards the back of your eyes, or you can even close your eyes if you like. Sometimes when we're wanting to relax, closing the eyes can be an immediate way of starting to tune in and tune out of the external world. So closing the eyes, if you want to, can help to start that cycle of relaxation off in the body. And then of course you've got the breath. I'm just going to put my timer on so we don't run over. We've got the breath, so we can start to tune in also with the breath, finding that place in the body where we feel the breath moving. Feeling the rise as you breathe in, the expansion, and how everything softens and releases as you breathe out. And we can just follow that wave of the breath, peaking and then softly falling. And with each breath, starting to relax even more. Body comes into stillness and starts to soften. Muscles start to relax and switch off. And each breath takes us deeper. Each exhalation relaxing down through the body. Each inhalation nourishing, bringing in fresh nutrients to the body. Just keep following that wave upon wave of the breath. And also being aware of the rest of your body, the whole posture, the feet, calves and ankles and the knees. Just checking in, zooming into each area while still being aware of the breath, rising and falling. Thighs, the hips, the target area, the lower back, the whole spine being supported, and how the muscles at the side of the spine just drop away down the side of the bolster. Shoulders and elbows nice and soft and heavy. Back of the neck, the face, each breath softening the face. Until we become aware of the whole body. we're going to slowly make our way out of this, but very, very slowly. Been there for 5 minutes, so you want to support the legs with your hands here and maybe draw the feet onto the mat and the knees up. And maybe take the legs long just for a moment or two, extend the legs out, maybe give the tops of your hips a little rub here. Just invite everything back in, the blood cells and everything else circulating. And then we're going to roll over onto one side, and you can just either roll to the side of your bolster and just have a little lie down for a moment on your side, resting, maybe feeling the effects of the posture. And then we're going to come up nice and slowly. And we're going to just move some of these props a little bit out of the way here. So we're going to come into child's pose, but a much different version of child's pose that you might be used to, because again, we're going to really prop it up here. So again, if you've got that block and blanket still there, and you bring your bolster over the top of that too, and it's up to you whether you want your knees together or whether you're going to take those knees wide and really come over your bolster, maybe even so that your head can kind of slightly hang off the end there, if you can. And move anything out of the way. If it doesn't feel comfortable straight down like that, you can come back a little bit and have more of a softer child's pose. But if your knees are fine here, you can bring the hips all the way back and use this more as a kind of chest pillow, and you can turn your head to one side instead. So wherever you are, in the middle, right over the edge, or right back here, it's just working out where feels good for your hips and knees. We're going to take 3 minutes from now. And don't worry if you get to maybe 5 breaths or so and you're not being able to relax in this posture. Then either have a little adjustment or just come to lie down, either on your side, back or front, and have a little rest and focus on your breath instead, which is what we're all going to be doing here in child's pose anyway. So we find the posture that works for our body. We start to settle in, make any little micro adjustments. Don't be afraid to fidget a little bit at first, but at some point you want to just settle and start to let the body sink into the pose. And it might help here with a little bit of sound. And occasionally it's nice if you're doing this practice by yourself, to have either a nice book, a nice relaxing book, say some poetry, or an audio, a nice relaxing audio playing. So I'm going to read you a little poem now. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, calm. Breathing out, smile. Present moment, wonderful moment. And that's by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is an amazing teacher of mindfulness and meditation. And he's quite old now, he's 94. So let's come up out of child's pose. And maybe keep your bolster as it is just for a moment. We're going to turn around to the side here. So you want your left hip against the side of your bolster. And you can decide in a moment whether you want to keep your bolster like this or whether you're going to lie it flat. So you're just you're sat nice and easy. Left hip, front of the bolster. And then what you want to do is you want to turn, so you've got one hand either side of the bolster. Start to pad down and try see if you want to bring the front of your body onto the bolster, and then just cuddle around it. And again, you can have your head to the side, you can have your forehead straight down. If you're having it to the side, see if you can go to both sides. So after about 6 or 7 breaths, turn your head to the other side so you get that balance. Although we are going to do the other side, so what you could do is you could have your head this way until I tell you to move. When we do the other side, have your head the other way. So we settle in again. And again, this wants to be feeling really super comfy. So if it isn't, see what it's like, maybe flat or flatter instead. Or see what it's like if you move your hip a little bit further away and maybe bring the middle of your thigh into the middle of that bolster there. So adjust until you feel, oh yeah, that this is nice, comfy posture. Little hug around that pillow, bolster or rolled up sleeping bag. And then really start to soften again. Let the body almost go to sleep. I think they call this revolved twist, but I have always known it as side slumber. And it's just like a little slumber on your side. And what's happening here is you're getting a lovely soft twist through the lower spine without too much effort or pressure. So soften, relax. Listen to the sound of the bowls. another poem, The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. And that's by Wendell Berry. Let's come up very slowly. Use those hands to lift the body back up. And all we're going to do here is swap to the other side. So you don't have to move your bolster. All you need to do is shift around so that your right hip this time is against the bolster, in line with the bolster, and then turning to face the bolster and coming down, and remembering this time to have your head the opposite direction if you had it to one side. I'm just going to turn my bolster around so that I'm facing you, but you don't need to do that. So try and find some comfort in this posture. Have a little fidget if you need to. Adjust your legs, any position that feels better. And again, finding the position that works for you, where you can start to soften. And if it doesn't look quite like this, don't worry. We're all going to look slightly different. You might have your knees further away or your knees further up. You might have your arms in a slightly different position. Some people have their hands on top of the bolster with their head on top like this. I just prefer to have them hanging down the side there. So don't be afraid to make it your own. Make it your own posture. So soften again. Just keep allowing the body to soften into the posture. So this is a little piece of writing by Mother Teresa. May today there be peace within. May you trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you forget the infinite possibilities that are born of faith in yourself and others. May you use the gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content with yourself just the way you are. Let this knowledge settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise and love It is there for each and every one of us. Just 3 more breaths here. And you can start to slowly unwind from that one. Then we're going to come all the way up, and we're going to come into a nice dragonfly, a nice soft wide-legged stance. So don't take your legs too wide. We don't want to be activating too many muscles. Remember, this is a soft practice. So you might even want that folded up blanket that you had earlier under your hips, either as thick as that or a little bit or less, just as a nice little bit of padding for your sitting bones. So you can place that underneath. Remember, we want it to be as soft as possible, so any extra padding is fab. And again, your bolster and maybe even that block, depending how deep you want to go forward. You can again use that block and a blanket on top of that if you still want even more height. And then your bolster here, don't place it too close to the belly. You want the gap here so that you've got a space to fold forward. And again, if your head's still not coming down, here maybe it's supporting your chest, but your head or your neck is straining, you can get that extra cushion and place it at the top, up under the forehead, so you've got a little gap to breathe. You really want to make it as soft as possible. So get those little extra cushions, make it a really nice high prop so that you can sink your body into it rather than trying to force your body into it. Your body just naturally, almost organically abides in it, just starts to soften without any effort from you. In fact, it's almost that if we can get out of the way for a little while, and we can just be soft and settle into the posture, then the practice does it speaks for itself. So let's just see if we can find that sweet spot. So let your muscles release, let your kneecaps come up, let your feet either swing out to the side or however which way they want to swing. And just let everything start to release and soften, including your neck and your shoulders. And I shall read you another poem. So this is called Desiderata. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence, as far as possible without surrender. Be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It's a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Never be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labours and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. And we just got a couple of breaths left there. You can come up now, slowly again. And you might just want to put some of your props to one side, maybe to your left side, because the last thing we're going to do now is reclined twist, but again with all our props. So you want all your props probably to the left side, as that will be the way we'll be going first. And again, you could, if you just got your mat down here, you could have your blanket just under your torso, like this, just to make a bit of extra padding. Pad it out, it'd be nice and cozy. You might also want to have your blanket around here somewhere so you can just drag it over in a moment. So get your things around you, next to you, to the side, and then we'll see how we want them. So we're going to start by coming down onto our backs and maybe just lifting the hips and lengthening the lower back a little bit, and just easing the shoulders out too, making sure that you're nice and settled on the floor there. And then you want your feet on the mat, just behind the bottom somewhere, and then grab your bolster and just put it to the side of your left hip. And then take your knees over to the left and see how that feels. Now, what you can do is you can work that bolster under so that your calf and some of your thigh, in fact most of your outer edge of your left leg, is lying on the bolster. And then you can get your other little pillow or whatever it is, and you can put that between your thighs, wherever feels right. Have a little play around with it and then see if you can relax. Sometimes I even like to just cross my ankles over like that, or even sometimes I place something that's a little bit more heavy, like a blanket, over the top of there, just on the knee like that, and that just helps my hip, my right hip, to relax. So the arms then, you can have your arms wherever you like. You can have them straight out, you can have them bent at the elbow and little cacti arms. But we want this again to be really nice and easy and soft in the body. So the right shoulder should be still planted on the mat. And the other thing you can do is, if you're feeling a bit of a tug in that right hip there, you can use, again, that folded up blanket or another little cushion or pillow or whatever, and you can pop it under your right hip, behind you, underneath you, so it's the edge of my blanket is almost under my last section of spine, so under my lumbar, right into my sacrum. So it's just supporting me, it's just cushioning, and it's providing a bit of warmth as well. And then finally you can, if you want, turn your head the opposite direction, but that's not necessary, it's just whether it feels good to you. Close your eyes, relax in the softness of the reclined twist. If you're not feeling that softness, get another pillow, prop it under, prop it between. And I'll just start my timer again. So keep on relaxing into that nice side posture. You don't even have to have your arms up if you don't want to. You can bring the arms down, especially if you're getting any pins and needles in your hands or your shoulders feel uncomfortable. You can bring the hands and just place them gently on the belly. So remember, you can always adjust to the posture that's working more for you. As long as your knees are to the left, you're getting that support, you're still getting a nice little twist through the belly and through the vertebrae. And this side, this reclined twist posture is very good for rebalancing your central nervous system. very good for if you've been busy or stressed about something, working over something in the mind. If you come into this posture and start to just follow your breath, especially bringing the breath into the belly, and what that does is it activates your vagus nerve. Let's move to the other side while I talk. So gently, slowly come out of this, and no hurry. Start to roll the bolster over to the other side. Get your blanket or whatever else you were using, and find that position again, whether you've got both knees up at the top and most of your leg on the bolster, or whether you're using it in a slightly different way, maybe across like so. And again, you can have that blanket under your left hip for a little bit of warmth and support. Even use one for your head if you like. Or again, those arms don't have to be there. They can be under the head. Almost like you're just reclining on the beach somewhere. So settle in. So the belly breaths, when you settle in the body, when you start to relax, and you can get a real nice rhythm going in the belly with the breath. Sometimes we breathe more up in the chest, and that puts quite a lot of stress on your respiratory system, because your chest is actually responsible for about 20%, and the diaphragm at the top of your belly is responsible for 80% of the breath. So we really want to get the diaphragm, the top of the belly, just rising and falling naturally with the breath. And once we get that rise and fall, a vagus nerve, one of the longest nerves in your body, connecting from your brain all the way into your gut. And that starts to stimulate, and it starts to send messages back to the brain. And it also starts to stimulate the response of the flow of serotonin and other anti-stress enzymes. And it also helps with your immune cells as well. So belly breathing will help you to relax and step away from all the stresses of the day. And got a few breaths left here, and then you're gonna slowly make your way into your Shavasana. So making that transition as easily as possible. What you could do here is you could just roll that bolster around under your knees, and you could pop your legs over the top so that the bolster's supporting your knees. Just, make everything nice and soft before you lie completely flat, arms again, wherever you like, and just settle down for a few moments, a few minutes or so in Shavasana. Get your blanket on and make sure you're super cozy for the next 5 minutes or so. And it's good to stay warm at this point. So start to let the body settle. Make any little adjustments. And then simply rest all of your awareness back in those belly breaths, rising and falling. Belly softly rising on the inhale, belly softly falling back on the exhale. Nothing left to do. We simply allow ourselves time to be, time to rest in our natural state. And you can start to imagine a soft, warm, healing light. A soft, healing light deep within your abdomen, starting to glow and starting to grow with each breath, radiating out in all directions. Each time you breathe in, the light expands even more. It fills every single cell in your abdomen, every single space, until the whole of the abdomen is full of light. And the light continues to radiate out, down through the legs, the thighs, the knees, into the shins and the calves, streaming into the ankle and the heels, over the soles, wrapping over the top of the foot, and filling each of the toes with this beautiful healing light. And the light continues to stream out of the abdomen, through the back, up through the back, up into the shoulders, over the tops, and all the way down through the arms and the elbows, into the forearms and the wrists, filling the palm of each hand with healing light. And every single finger, and And the light continues to spread up from the back into the neck, back of the head, crown of the head, and then softly, softly spilling down over the face. Slowly spilling down over the face and through the throat, softly down through the chest and the ribs, until the whole body is full. The whole body is full of healing light. Start to bring some awareness back to your physical body lying here. Start to bring a little bit of movement back to the physical body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take that morning stretch, or maybe you want to just hug in and have a little sway on your back here, and just roll the knees and make the back ready for a little bit of movement to come up to seated, whether you want to roll onto your side here. Come up nice and soft. I think that's probably the best way after a little restorative. So we make our way slowly back up. And we bring our hands together at the heart space. And we bow our heads. And we say Namaste. Namaste. So thank you for joining me in Restorative tonight. Hope you feel nice and relaxed and chilled now. And if you did like that, if you could click the little thumb on my YouTube channel, that would be great. Thank you again for watching me. Take care.